If you don't know what Honda is, you've been living under a rock. Honda sells cars in America like hotcakes, but it wasn't that long ago where they were just starting out and they had to fight their way into the American automobile market. And all it took was some expert craftsmanship, a perfect storm of global events to give Honda the window it needed to jump headfirst into the American automobile market. It is 1969 and Honda has just entered the American market with the Honda N600. It's very small, it looks very dinky, and it's very different than what you'd see on the roads in 1969 in America. You see, back then, the roads were dominated by big V8s, long body cars that more resemble boats half the time. And Honda continued making strides in the American market by releasing in 1972 the Honda Civic. And it was a small hatchback with only a 1.2 liter inline-4 engine. And these type of cars were not the type of cars that the typical American was buying at the time. It took a global event for that perspective to change, because oopsies, it's 1973 now and the oil crisis has just started. Basically, it came down to a bunch of oil producing countries were embargoing the United States. This caused widespread fuel shortages at gas stations across America. Some states introduced a system where only odd number cars could get gas on odd number days and vice versa, and some days there was no gas whatsoever. The oil crisis even caused the cancellation of the 24 hours of Daytona and the 12 hours of Sebring. And just like that, the 50 horsepower Honda Civics just started becoming just a little more desirable. The Civic started selling like hotcakes, but the average American motorist wasn't satisfied with the amount of features that the Civic came with. It was very bare bones. It lacked a lot of features that were typical in American automobiles. And it was this rationale that led Honda to create a sister car for the Honda Civic, known as the Honda Accord.
It's the 1981 Honda Accord. With front-wheel drive, four-wheel independent suspension, a 5-speed transmission, and rack and pinion steering. We've tested the Accord under grueling road conditions you wouldn't encounter in a month of Sundays, because life isn't always a simple Sunday drive.
Honda, we make it simple.
Honda first launched the Accord in 1976, and at first, just like its sister car, the Civic, it was a hatchback, but it boasted a 68 horsepower engine. Along with cloth seats, a tachometer, especially the 50 million cigarette lighters and ashtrays available in the Accord, they also loved the fuel economy that it came with. And American consumers ate it up. They loved the features that the Accord came with, especially from a car that really seemed pretty cheap. Hondas at the time didn't really have a reputation for being fancy or luxurious. They were just seen as a poor man's car.
Ouch, that is seriously weak, dude.
A very simple car with not a whole lot of features, but the Accord changed that perception. In 1982, Honda opened its first manufacturing plant on American soil in Skibbity Toilet, Phantom Tax, Ohio. The fuck is wrong with me? The second generation of Honda Accords were the first to be built on American soil. With a catch. You see, if you lived on the East Coast in, say, Allentown, Pennsylvania, your Honda Accord was built at the Marysville factory in Ohio. But if you lived in, let's say, Los Banos, California, your Accord still came from Japan. Regardless though, this was still a very historical moment in automotive history. This was the first time that a Japanese manufacturer was manufacturing cars in America, and this firmly cemented Honda's rightful place on American roads. Things only seemed to be on the up and up after the building of the Marysville plant. It was only a couple years earlier that another gas crisis hit America with the 1979 Iranian Revolution, which even further brought up gas prices and drove a lot of Americans to ditch the cars that they had before. And this basically led to people waltzing into the doors of Honda dealerships across the world and across the United States and across the world to buy Honda Accords. The car earned a reputation for basically just selling itself.
Hey, I'm a nice guy. I call my mom, I eat my vegetables. I don't ask for much. All I ever wanted was to sell cars. I'm outgoing, I'm friendly, I can be very persuasive, and I really know my cars. I'm a natural car salesman. So what happens? With all the cars in the world, I end up selling the car that sells itself, a Honda.
I'll take it.
Why me?
Honda, the car that sells itself.
Honda found itself at the right place at the right time with the right design mentality, building economic cars for people who wish to spend less money and save more on gas. From 1982 to 1997, the Honda Accord was the best-selling Japanese car, and it was often the best-selling car in its class. It was also the first car in America under an import brand to become the best-selling car in America, and by 2001 they have sold over 10 million units. And today the Accord has gained a reputation as being one of the most reliable cars out on the road, and I can personally attest to this. You see, I don't own an Accord, I own an Acura TSX, which in a lot of parts of the world is an Accord. I've had my car since 2019 and it's only broken down once, and that was because I burnt out the clutch. I have a video that I want to make on that story. But aside from that, the car has been insanely reliable. There have been times, especially when I was younger, where I really didn't treat the car that well and the car treated me well. And the car just, I have so much respect for the people over at Honda, for just the build quality. Daily driving my Acura or my Accord, the build quality is insanely good. Everything works, and the car is like 15 years old at this point, and it feels like a 5-year-old car. I literally got my oil changed the other week, and a guy came up and offered to buy my car. A coworker of mine bought a 2002 Honda Accord, and it looked impeccable. The build quality on these cars is insane, and I can personally attest to this. And it's also part of the reason why I wanted to make a video on the Honda Accord. Just because I kind of know from experience the build quality of Honda and the Accord especially, and just the platform and all that. Goodbye, whoever that was. And that's kind of where I'm going to end off on this video. I want to do more videos like this in the near future. If you want to see a specific car talked about, let me know down below in the comments. But that's it for me tonight. Thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. I will catch you all later. Have a good night, everyone.